Got to start with Zerline and what he did, breaking the franchise record. Just how impressed by what he did.
Well, I think that speaks to his career and what he's done throughout his career, and that's why we brought him here. He is, I wouldn't say he's exceeded our expectations, but he's done a really, really good job since he's been here. And it's exactly what we thought we were going to get, as far as leg talent and everything like that. And if there's a kicker in this league that has kicked in as many windy and bad weather games, like I think it's been really windy and rainy in like 8 or 9 of our games this year. He's kicked in weather the whole time. And he's done a fantastic job. I mean, his kicks off, can't speak today. He's like 90% touchbacks on his kickoffs. He's doing a great job. And like I said, if there's a kicker out there other than maybe Baltimore or somebody like that has a kicker that's had an impactful, season like he has, then, I think it's a pretty strong statement because I think he's done a really good job, especially in the weather conditions that he's faced.
Speaking of which, the 57-yarder that he made in the rain, was that maybe even more impressive than a 60-yarder?
I think so. And if you see the 60-yarder, I think it'd have been good from 65, 67, somewhere in there. I mean, he's got a cannon, that's for sure. And he's a great guy to deal with, a great guy to coach, and I really enjoyed having him in the room. He's done a great job for us.
Is there a way to tell? Because I watched the replay closely on the 60-yarder, and it definitely was still going pretty strong.
Yeah.
And it landed in the net. It was fairly high up.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Like, is there a way to measure it?
I don't. You can just tell by seeing enough of them. I think I know for a fact it had been good from 5 more yards, 5 to 7 at least.
Yeah.
So he has the potential leg talent to to break the NFL record. I really believe that. In the right conditions, certainly. He's done a great job.
Is that a relief to know you have a guy like that? I mean, because we've asked you countless questions over the years about the revolving kickers, and just have a guy like that.
Yeah, you have guys like Myers who did a great job, and Catanzaro who did a great job for us, and a lot of guys that have done a solid job for us. But to have a guy that nothing phases him. You see him kick a 60-yarder and everything, and it's like he does it every day, and that's how he approaches the game, and that's what I really like about him. He's not running around, jumping up and down, going crazy. It's like he's been there before, and that doesn't surprise him that himself that he made that.
Kind of touched on it a little, but what does it take mentally to be a good kicker in bad weather, in bad conditions? Because you mentioned he's obviously made some kicks in tough spots.
I think you've got to be a mental grinder, just mentally tough, a guy that doesn't let outside things affect you a bunch. He's got a really good holder and he's got a really good snapper and everything, but the way he approaches the game and how he performs and what he expects of himself, I think is awesome. And he expects to make every kick, and he's mad at himself if he doesn't make them, and he should be. That's part of being a professional. And he's kicked as long as he has, and he's done that for a reason. He's been in this league for a long time, and it's great to have a guy like that has that mindset of no matter how old you are and how well you're doing, just you got to make every kick, and I really like that about him.
Conditions could be a little nasty on Sunday, according to the weather.
Yeah, that's something new up in Buffalo that we've never faced before. Yeah. But no, it'll be a heck of a challenge for us. Obviously, going up there. They are loaded with special teams guys and play fast and are tough, and they're big, and they've got some really good players on teams, and they've got some good specialists and some good returners, and it'll be a good challenge to see where we're at.
I guess it's what does it say about him? I mean, he's been here for less than a year, and he has the home record and the overall record in terms of length of field goal.
Yeah, I didn't, like I said, I think it speaks to how professional he is and the way he approaches everything. And like I said, the weather that he's had to kick in, has been pretty bad for kickers and stuff like that. So, I think he's done just a great job. I don't know what else to tell you. everything we've asked him to do, the way he approaches it, like I said, his whole demeanor on game day. I'll do whatever you need. I'll kick off if you need me to kick off. I won't, and anything you ask him to do, he does, and doesn't bat an eye about it. Awesome guy to coach.
Is MetLife the hardest stadium to kick in?
I think there's a lot of stadiums. Buffalo's not an easy one to kick in. Cleveland, you got a bunch of tough stadiums. Pittsburgh, stuff like that. So, but he's done a great job. He really has. He's done a heck of a job this year.
Is it hard not having Jeff Smith up? Because I know he was one of your guys.
Yeah, I mean, that you have the roster mechanics every week, and that's part of being a special teams coach. You deal with what we're dealt with, the hand that you're dealt, and you make the best of it. And that's what we get paid for. And you try to get the best guys that you can, and that's part of it.
How good has Hardy been for you guys over not just this year, but since he's been here?
Well, if you look at how they try to defend him, and he is double or triple teamed every time. So if you went and talked to any other coach, that we play, you would have to ask them, like, how would you defend this guy? And they double him, they try to triple him at times, and he still has. We have him down for 14 tackles. He has 2 forced fumbles. I believe he's got a fumble recovery. And then he's got what we call forced tackles, which is standing right in front of the returner forcing a forced fair catch. And I think he's got 8 or 9 of those. And that's being doubled and tripled half the time, and it's almost all the time. Rarely will he get a single. And I think that speaks to the kind of player that he is. And like I said, if you asked any player that we play against, any coach that you play against, that's the first guy they mention. And he has done a heck of a job. And I'd say it too. You can find me a better gunner in this league than that guy, then I'd like to see it, because I don't think there is one. I think he's a special dude.
Sorry, Brant.
You're good.
How hard is it for a guy like that to gain some kind of Pro Bowl traction and attention? I mean, that's such a, there's not a lot of attention given to those guys a lot of times, unless they're making. Unless you have the reputation of a Slater,
Right.
of course, who
Right.
obviously deserves it.
Right.
How hard is that for a guy like that to gain?
I think it's really hard, to be honest with you, because a lot of it's the fan vote and who they hear the names of all the time and everything like that as well. But like I said, I think that the true measure of a player and how you know that you're respected in this league is talk to the players and talk to the coaches. And they'll tell you everything you need to know on if you're respected or not. And you can tell by the way they respect him on how they try to stop him, and what they try to do to the rest of the group, and what they try to do to him. And it really, really shows on game day, because they, like I said, it's every time. If he beats 2 guys, there's another guy waiting for him. If he, and they'll peel off from there, and he's faced double teams damn near every rep this year.
Since we're talking Pro Bowl, guy we've spoken about over the years but doesn't get a lot of attention, the long snapper.
Yeah.
What do you think of Hennessy?
I don't think there's a better guy in the game as far as being consistent with consistent snaps and locations and the ability to cover and the ability to block. There's another guy I would say that certainly deserves a lot more recognition than he gets. I think that he's not the best. I'd like you to show me one too that's better than he is and does more for the team as far as like everything that I don't think he's got a weakness in his game, to be honest with you. I really don't. A lot of guys can snap, but they can't cover. A lot of guys can cover, but they can't block. He's got them all, and I think he's smart and he's a great teammate, and I think he does a hell of a job for us.
Is that something that he developed? Those like being able to do all of it, or was he strong in one thing and over the years?
I think he's been really good for the last 4 or 5 years that I've been here. That as far as like getting better every year, and it's hard for snappers to get much publicity, obviously, unless you do something bad. But I will say this, and I'm not just trying to pub people and stuff up here. I think he's the best in the league. I really do. I truly mean that.
What was it about when you guys when you traded for him? Like, what was it about? Did you see this kind of potential? Or?
Well, we studied him when he was coming out, and we really liked him when he was coming out, and so when we found out he was going to be available, you know, and it just so happened that it was the guy that I used to work for in Indianapolis had him, and so we were all over it as soon as we could get him. So Tanner Purdom was going to retire, I think, at the time, and you know, we needed a guy, and boy, we've been really lucky ever since. You know, he's done a great job since he's been here.
That's good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.